Joining. So we are looking at prerequisites, and now we are on module 3, which is configure resources with Azure Resource Manager templates. Okay, so you learn how to use Azure Resource Manager templates to consistently deploy assets. All right, so let's check the introduction. All right, so your company needs to ensure that the virtual machine deployments are consistent across the organization, right? So it shouldn't happen that, let's say, we are deploying we're deploying a virtual machine um, with say 4 or 5 components, and then make another deployment and we only deploy 3 components, we miss out 2. So the fact of the matter is that we need to have a consistent deployment across the organization. So we use Azure Resource Manager templates, also known as ARM templates, ARM templates, to deploy resources including virtual machines. And the skills measured are that deploying resources using Azure Resource Manager templates is part of the AZ-104 that we are going to take, and says 20-25% of Azure compute resources, automate deployment of virtual machines by using Azure Resource Manager templates. So you modify an Azure Resource Manager template, deploy from a template, and save a deployment as an ARM template. And the learning objectives are that in this module you will learn how to list the advantages of Azure templates, identify the Azure template schema components, specify Azure template parameters, locate and use Azure quick start templates. Alright, so there's no prerequisites. So let's go ahead and review the Azure Resource Manager templates, and its advantages, right? The advantages of Azure Resource Manager template. So basically, the template defines all the resource manager resources in a deployment, and you can deploy a resource manager template into a resource group as one operation. So and it's designed to be repeatable, and in given, over a period of time, it will enhance the speed of the process, because you're following a script and you're just going through it. So you don't have to create a VM in the portal and wait for it to finish and then create another VM. So it's not sequential, right? So resource manager templates take care of the entire deployment for you. And the benefits, let's look at the benefits. So it improves consistency. So provides a common language for you and the others to describe your deployments. It's declarative. The templates help express complex deployments. They enable you to deploy multiple resources in the correct order. And the templates reduce manual and error-prone tasks. Okay, so so it ensures that deployments happen the same way every single time, right? And the templates are code. So, and I think it's It uses JSON templates, right? Um, as a type of infrastructure as code, it can be shared, tested, and versioned, if you will. So templates promote reuse. You can reuse it as many times as you want. It's linkable, and it promotes or simplifies orchestration. Let's also look at the ways to explore the Azure Resource Manager template schema. All right, so the schema, so as you just mentioned, it's JSON, right? Allows you to express data stored as an object. It's key value pairs, right? And this is how it generally looks like. You have a key and a value, separated by a colon. The value and the key are in quotes, and it starts and ends with a curly brace. Okay, and here we're defining the elements in the template. So we had a schema, location of schema file, version of the template, the parameters passed are provided, the variables, the functions, the resources types, and the outputs. Alright, so let's also look at and explore the Azure Resource Manager template, the parameters. So the parameters of the template are, you specify which values you can input when deploying the resources. The available properties for a parameter are as given below here: min value, max value, min length, max length, description. And there's an example illustrating that. So we have two parameters here. One is of the virtual machine username, which is of type string, and the other one is a password type secure string, right? So you have type, metadata, and description. So it's using this type metadata, and the metadata includes a description. And you are limited to 256 parameters in a template. And you can reduce the number of parameters by using objects that contain multiple properties. So alright, we just have a few more to cover, so I think we can finish this in one video. So what are bicep templates? So Azure Bicep is a domain-specific language that, or also known as DSL, that uses declarative syntax to deploy Azure resources. Okay, and you can use Bicep instead of JSON to develop your ARM templates. The JSON syntax used to create an ARM template can be quite a lot, can be verbose, and requires complicated expressions. So believe Bicep is used to simplify things, right? Reduces the complexity. It's a transparent abstraction of the ARM template. And how does it work? Well, when you deploy a resource or a series of resources to Azure, you submit the Bicep template to the resource manager, and then your Word, it still requires JSON templates, and the tooling that's built into Bicep converts your Bicep template into a JSON template. And so not sure if you need to go into details, but I think the gist of it is that Biceps provide an abstract layer over the ARM templates and is used to simplify the process of creating the templates. So simpler syntax, you can break down the modules, automatic dependency management, and validation. So let's review the quick start templates. So here is something that you see. For quick start, templates provide everything you need to deploy a solution. So you have a README file, JSON, parameters are JSON. Alright, so let's take a knowledge test here. 3 questions. Okay. So what is an Azure Resource Manager template? It is it a series of Azure CLI commands to deploy infrastructure? It's a JSON file that defines infrastructure and configuration for deployment, or is it a script used by Azure Resource Manager to manage the Azure storage account? So it is a JSON file, right? It's not simply a collection of CLI commands. It's got a definitive syntax, and which could be quite verbose. That's why they have introduced Azure Bicep to simplify that. Which of the following is an element in a template schema? Right, this is quite interesting. Include scripts or outputs. I think it is scripts. Not too sure on that. What happens if the same template is run a second time? Azure Resource Manager will deploy new resources as copies of previously deployed resources. Azure Resource Manager won't make any changes to deploy resources. Azure Resource Manager will delete. Okay, I think it's this. Well, let's check. Okay, so this one is correct, and won't make any changes. The resource already exists. There is no change detected. In properties, no action is taken. All right, so this is outputs. Okay, we are wrong on that question. So outputs are a part of the template schema. Outputs are used to return values from the deployed resources. Fair enough. So let's take a look at the summary. To implement infrastructure as code, we use templates defined using JSON, can be quite verbose, and used to make sure we have consistent deployments, right? So let's keep going. So far, I think that in terms of prereqs, we have completed 3 modules. So the next module is automating Azure tasks using scripts with PowerShell. So that will be in the next video. So until then, see you next time.